Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It's Sunday, so we're doing a Sunday special report. And I was inspired yesterday while talking about Dame Lillard possibly coming to Toronto to do the subject that I'm doing today. It was about a year ago, around this time, that Chris Broussard said some out of pocket statements about NBA players' perceptions about playing in Canada, specifically, former Raptors players that really had weird experiences here or didn't feel like this was like the States or that there was different issues with being here. And kind of what I want to do today is break down this phenomena exactly and where it comes from and why it's like this. In some ways, every country has nationalism. Every country has patriotism. In some ways, leaders want to control people by establishing, indoctrinating their citizens into being patriots. You can look at what they do in North Korea and they do in China to try and get people to conform and comply by being, you have to be patriot. So in some ways, this is what happens in some ways down south. It really is kind of a thing where, the government realized people that feel like they're working for something bigger than themselves will do harder work at their job every day. So in some ways, American patriotism was built to get the workers to work harder. Because in some ways, if they're doing it for the country, then they'll be more inspired to have more productivity. So it's a really big kind of system that was set up partly. Now, the side effect of it is a lot of people in the United States never leave the United States, and they have a very tainted view of the whole entire world. It's not a realistic one. There really are people that just stay in their home corner and that's it. And I would say it has to do with income, but it doesn't. There's very, very wealthy Americans that don't travel anywhere else. I know my former ex, her father was a very wealthy man, and he chose, because of ideals and ideas of what I'm talking about today, to never leave the United States because the rest of the world just wasn't good enough. This is a man that has millions and millions of dollars. And he was saying this attitude, oh, America's just the best. I don't have to go anywhere. So it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with economics. Of course, people that don't have a lot of money and can't go to Europe and enrich their lives and see the rest of the world will have no idea what the rest of the world is like. So a lot of times these kind of attitudes about the rest of the world from America are based on really kind of like closed-minded, not very informed opinions because they really don't know. They really don't know. They don't go anywhere else. Some of these people stay in their small town and they never leave it. And they can instill, pound it into them. You're a proud American. America's number one. America's the best country in the world. America, 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 America. And they want them to be as patriotic as possible and believe in their country so that they'll work their ass off for them. And they'll be little wage slaves for the big money makers that are going to make money. It's all a big scam in some ways. Now, I get it. You should be proud of your country, but there's certain levels to it. And when you're proud of your country to the level where you're xenophobic and you start like making really wide sweeping judgments about big groups of people, that's a problem. Yeah, the Americans, there's a lot of Americans of all types. They're a completely diverse country. And there's different people that do not fall in the category I'm talking about today. Worldly Americans, Americans that do understand the world and, have a world perspective. So I'm not trying to do that to them. I'm just saying, though, the basic, like, person that comes up there, you got to do the pledge every day. You got to learn the American history. You got to be like a dedicated American. And if you don't, you're not for your country, you're in trouble. Like, people will judge you and shame you and will make you feel bad if you're not as patriotic as them. It's a really weird thing. Like, there's contests. People want to get the biggest American flag on their street, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. So with that kind of mentality, you get conditioned as a young kid to believe, like, it's conditioning. These people start believing, well, America's just the best in the whole entire world at everything. That they really get an ego about it, and it's not realistic in a lot of ways. And one of the factors is Canada. Canada's so close to the States, and we have such a long border with them. And there is a lot of interaction between Canada and America at the border. And people that live at the border understand that we're very the same. You can go talk to people that live in Windsor. and people that live in Detroit, they cross the border back and forth, and they'll say, the people over here are pretty much the same as the people over there, because that's true. It's true. The diversification of the United States is in Canada also, obviously in our city of Toronto. So it's a weird thing. We may have different money. We may have a different leader. There may be an imaginary border that splits the United States from Canada. But in a lot of ways, this country up here is not that much different from the United States. So that was part of the reason why Chris Broussard's comments were really weird and kind of tacky. And in some ways, we said before, some of the stuff they say down there is to shape perception of playing in Toronto. It really is. Like, why would he say that if he wasn't trying to dissuade people from coming to play for our team here? And now I'm hearing these rumbles in the last 24 hours that Lillard's camp is saying that he doesn't want to play here, and that it's partly because of the taxes, and it's partly because of DeMar DeRozan. Honestly, this is really interesting. There's rumbles saying that Dame Lillard is good friends with DeRozan, and that he really, really didn't agree with what Masai did to him when he traded him for Kawhi. Now, this could be made up bullshit from a fan somewhere, or it could be true. Either way, I'm going to look at it this way. We've been on the fence about Dame Lillard in both ways. I've thought, he's an overpowering great weapon. We should get him on the Raptors. And then y'all are saying, no, he's a headache. He's not worth the price. He's not worth the price we'd have to send to get him here. And in some ways, I'm more and more like very against the Lillard trade. So I don't think this guy is good for a team at this point. He's toxic. And this is the thing. If he really believes that he would have a problem with playing in Canada, so be it. We don't want him here. That's for damn sure. If he really has a problem with playing in Toronto and he's not smart enough to see a good situation here and take advantage of it, well, he's too stupid to play for the Raptors then. So either way, it's like, look, dude, either you're okay with coming to play for us, we trade for you. If you're not, well, we should just stay clear. And that may be part of what Bobby and Masai are trying to assuage right now. It's like, is he really being serious? Are some of these rumors true that he wouldn't want to come here because of the taxes and stuff? Maybe we shouldn't pull the trigger. Yeah, let's just stop talking to Portland right now. Yeah, maybe do that, Bobby and Masai. Because in some ways, Lillard's not serious about going somewhere else, obviously, because he's really limiting the tunnel of where he can exit out of Portland. He's not serious. If he really was serious about getting traded out there, he would have been like wide open. Hello. But no, he's getting too specific. He's trying to manipulate the market either through bullshit rumors or his agents or whoever. And now he's getting less and less exits out. It's really messed up. If you're so upset about DeMar and the way we traded him, then go ahead and go play with him in Chicago. And you can be a headache for Bulls Nation instead. So I think I'm officially out on the Lillard thing. I don't care that he got 71 last year. I don't care that he's one of the NBA's top 75. He's not worth the price. He's not worth the risk. And the crazy thing is, Masai and Bobby may have been sitting in the same situation before they pulled the trigger on Kawhi. And they probably assuaged all this. And they're like, you know what? I'll bet you this crazy son of a gun would come here and play for us and do it right because of certain things about his personality. So in some ways, Kawhi's better than Dame. In some ways, if Dame's not going to come here because of taxes or this kind of bullshit I'm hearing the next couple of days. So yeah, and I'm a firm no. And I think that Dame Lillard's attitude about Toronto is implicated from the things that I'm talking about today. That he is a kid who was raised in California, grew up in Oakland, and he was very much indoctrinated into American exceptionalism propaganda about patriotism and the place of the United States in the whole entire world. And I'm not going to lie, the U.S. has been number one in a lot of things over the years and times, and they still are right now. But there's a lot of stuff that they're failing at right now. And to be able to say, oh, we're the best, the beacon of freedom, the people that do this, well, there's a lot of hypocrisy in what you're saying if you say that. So I think that Dame may be one of these NBA players from the States that is not anti-Canadian, but xenophobic to Canada. I've said that we did Chauncey Billups the other day for our trivia, and I told you he's that kind of guy. And, Dame's been playing with him in Portland as his coach. That you get influences around you, and that's part of the problem. There's an NBA hierarchy, an NBA old guard of old players that still don't totally respect Toronto, no matter what. Just because it's that weird aberration difference of being a Canadian team in an American league. So yeah, the fans will mirror the players to a degree. You hear a lot of anti-Canada and Toronto stuff right now because they feel threatened that we might get Lillard right now. So there's Heat fans out there spewing all kinds of like, who wants to be in Toronto? Toronto sucks. It's so cold up there. They're just saying a whole bunch of bullshit. Well, the fans that sound like that, there's a percentage of them like that. Well, there's a percentage of players that are like that too. So it's a weird thing. It goes hand in hand, and it really is like ignorance and a little dose of xenophobia is in there also. It is what it is. It's the terrain of the land. And Mr. Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, they do their job according to what they can do with what they can do. And in some ways, this may not be something we can do just because Lillard's an idiot. So in some ways, I'm a hard pass at this point. And Masai and Bobby, if you listen to me, it sounds like he's a dumpster fire for the rest of his career at this point. That in some ways he may be going in the James Harden route, and he may be a crybaby, whine. I want to be traded every year or so. It's like a Christmas gift. Every year you're going to get James Harden whining us. I want to leave. I want to leave. Well, Kevin Durant's on that list too. He might start saying that in Phoenix at some point. You know, that's what I'm saying. We don't want to be around these kind of big players, superstar, great players. They're so great that they whine and bitch about leaving teams so much. Yeah. All right. Let's see what y'all are saying this morning. Thanks for being here with me this morning. Trevor J saying, good morning, Raptors family. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Commissioner J. Y'all, we want to fill up this fantasy league for the NBA season. Yahoo Fantasy, play it with the Raptor Freaks. We need like 3 or 4 more teams. So if you don't have a team in there and you want to play, get in there. I will put there's a post in the community on this channel with a link to get to that league. And there's very limited spots left. We have like 16 teams in the league right now. We want 20. And there's like 2 or 3 that we need to return and take their spots. But there is like 1 or 2 spots still open. So I want to fill this up in the next couple of days because I want to set a draft time and do this draft. In fact, we might want to do this draft a week from today is what I'm saying right now. I want to get it out of the way right away. And even before preseason, because I don't want anybody to know who's going on with who's hurt or what, anything. I want everybody to be fresh plate and you just pick them. And some guys may be hurt, but I'm just saying that's part of what we're doing here. So Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex from Raptor Freaks. Bam, 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 bam. Good to see you, Bradley. Hope you're having a nice Sunday morning wake up right now. What's up, Trevor? Dana's here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Canadian Dana. Always good to see the Raptor heads next to your name in the Raptor Freak chat. Trevor J saying today is a very great day to be happy, to be joyful, to be blessed, and to be happy to be alive. So be all you can be today. All right. Sounds a little bit like the U.S. Army, but you know what? I know the message, and it is. It's a Sunday morning. I'm sitting in here with nature. There's all kinds of animals making noise behind me. I hear the wind blowing through the trees. It's very peaceful and very natural. And I'm joyful and blessed to be here, Trevor J. Thank you for your words of wisdom. And Trevor's saying he's good to Cowboy. Trevor's also saying can't wait to watch some basketball. Tired of watching other sports. Yeah, you know, the baseball might be pretty good coming up right now. Jays are still alive, and there's some very interesting stuff going on with them. Some interesting games. Close game the other day, last night, I guess. Yeah, very close game. They go right down in the ninth. Let's see. Yeah, I love that lineup. Evelyn's here. Good to see Granny Evelyn. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. I wish you a Sunday blessed with peace, love, joy, and happiness. There's nothing that beats a warm Sunday. I wish you all the love and strength today. Be encouraged. Thank you, Granny Evelyn. Yeah, I feel really lucky. I'm out here at the cottage with my parents, and Adriana's out here with us right now. So she gets to enjoy being out here in the peace and quiet also, and just kind of have a nice, peaceful day. She's had a lot of different things going on, and getting a chance to escape for the city for a night was a good thing for her. So I'm really happy she's here with me, and we get to have some time out here together. Let's see what else y'all are saying this morning. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Fiercey Salsera. Always good to see Scottie Barnes Switch Family 2022 in the house, and also our current Raptor Freak trivia leader, G saying 60% of Americans do not have passports, and that actually rose. It was around 90% without passports at one point. That's what I'm saying. They really don't go out and explore the world. I commend Americans that are very well rounded and represent the country very well in the way that it should be represented, as far as knowing the rest of the world and being like a respectable nation and neighbor and diplomatic like leader in the world. There's things about American idealism that is absolutely fantastic and absolutely a great beacon of hope and joy for the rest of the world. But this is the thing, y'all. Y'all gotta walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk about what you are all about. When your country starts turning into some sort of like hating, coming after groups like Ron DeSantis' Florida and other things like that, y'all are not what y'all say you are anymore. There's too much going on in y'all's country that is a dumpster fire and is not freedom. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, I mean, that is a symptom of the ignorance, is that these people just don't leave the country. They have no idea. They have no idea what the rest of the world is like. They only know what they know. So how the hell are you going to know what France is like, or Korea, or Australia, or Egypt? You don't know. You never went there. So that's the thing. And they have crazy ideas about what it is. You know, it happens every which way. Like the ideas about what Mexico is like in the States are absolutely crazy. And in fact, I'm guilty of being indoctrinated as a Canadian growing up in America in public schools in Florida. That, I thought that, Mexico was just a dump. There's nothing there. The people are all just certain ways. And it's totally wrong. And they want you to believe that. You can go to Mexico City and you'll see a world-class, beautiful, rich city. The way they talk about Africa is crazy. The way the ideas of what Africa is like over there, that they can't have big, modernized metropolitan cities and things that are happening there. It would blow their minds if they actually went to a big city in Africa and saw what's actually going on over there. They would understand a lot of their prejudices and their ideas about it, what it's like, are absolutely completely wrong. And that's the thing. They got to broaden their horizons and really find out the truth, instead of just sitting at home with a patriotic rhetoric that is actually not even anywhere true at this point. There's parts of the world that are doing things way, way better than the States in all kinds of areas at this point. So yeah, it's crazy. Trevor's saying, I totally agree with you. Some people don't even leave the neighborhood. I know that for a fact. Yeah. So wait, I can't listen to you. I'm sorry, Jerry. You've lived at this street your whole entire life. I can't listen to you, bro. I can't respect your opinion on these people because you have barely left your block, bro. It's like that. Seriously, Trevor J, thank you. Tom Duke saying, so many avenues for whatever bias you lean towards. What a great world we live in. Go Raptors. Tom leans heavy into that bias towards the Raptors, and I love him for it. Ignorance is bliss, sometimes it seems. Yeah, and it's up to the individual. You listen, you want to be ignorant and be in that bliss for your whole entire life, go ahead. But just understand that your opinion doesn't matter, because it's not based in reality. It's based on your own very limited experience that you've contained yourself into, is what I would say to those people. That's right. Tom Duke, with the full effect of the Raptors. Listen, I want to talk about something awesome. I did watch that last clip from Rico Hines late last night. It was about an hour almost. And there's some bombshells in that footage. Holy crap, y'all. Have you watched that one with Russell? The Russell Westbrook Rico Hines runs clip from the last day of Rico Hines runs this year? It's very, very good. Once again, we're loaded with Raptors talent, Raptors players in it. And I had a Darko Rajakovic sighting in that clip. I saw Darko in the corner of the gym across from Nick Nurse. Yeah, Nick Nurse sitting in the middle in that same spot that he was in the day before. Nick's wearing a gray Sixers shirt at this point. He looks like, that spare tire grew a little bit. And he's just sitting there and he's kind of like this. And then Darko's over in the corner sitting on like mats or something next to Koloko, who was not playing. And that's when we see Koloko was at Rico Hines, but he did not play. But he was sitting there present with the coaching staff in the corner. And the guys, when they were not playing, would come over and talk to the coaches. I saw Grady sitting over there with them at one point in this clip. And man, the runs were great once again. very much focused as Raptors versus Sixers in this one. DeAnthony Melton's squad with Mo Bamba, Jaden Springer, Ricky Council, those guys are good. And in some ways, people were trolling us because like, oh, most of y'all starters getting beat by the Sixers. I'm telling you, Melton's a very good player, and he is a starter. Mo Bamba has played high-level basketball in the last couple of years. And you know, we have a rookie and a couple different people on our team, but I'm not making excuses because we held our own and we look real good again. Scottie is really at a new level right now. Even in this latest clip, he's doing his thing again where he stops and he kind of messes with the guy and he trolls him, but he misses the shot. And that's what I'm saying, Scott. It's catching up to you. The first shot you missed because fundamentally what you're doing is wrong. And then, but you cleaned it up because you're a supreme talent and you could get that rebound right away and put it back. But yeah, I see you. You're trolling even more this year. And you in some ways you have that attitude and cockiness to you. I like it in some ways, but in some ways I'm like worried about it making us get burned. There was a lot of interesting interaction between the players on the court. As far as Jakob, once again, doing a lot of good stuff in there, finishing through contact near the basket with tough stuff. Precious, extremely good in this clip. Y'all need to watch this, seriously, because in some parts of it, you see Precious where he's going to take the next step, where he's going to get even better. There's a little glimmer of it in this RICO Hines runs that got dropped in the last 2 days. He basically, what I'm going to describe is he takes the ball and puts it on the floor and wins the game by making a move across the court with a crossover dribble and a layup over somebody. Like he totally defeats the guy, like one-on-one, like beats him. And it was very overpowering and very impressive. And not only that, Precious was hitting the outside shot really, really like often. Like he was really on fire. In fact, people in the comment section were saying that the best player in the RICO Hines clip that just came out is Precious Achiuwa. So very interesting. Grady looked really good again. Once again, Grady did this little like baseline cut, and Scottie found him so beautiful, like threw it to him right pinpoint, and Grady just laid it right on in. That's exactly what we want to see a lot of this year. Marquise Noel doing some really fancy dribbling and really good ball handling and keeping taking care of the ball. And Malachi Flynn also. In fact, these two guys look so good on the court in this clip that the speaker at the end of the clip was Cuttino Mobley, former Houston Rocket and great. I mean, he wasn't a great basketball player. He was a good basketball player that became great. And that's something interesting because you got a guy who wasn't supposed to be a great, but he made a name for himself and he was a winner. Trust me, when he played as a player. Well, he came out with his gray beard and to talk after, and he had one of the best speeches. Once again, another really great speech at the end of a RICO Hines run. And he was really good about it. He really said some really poignant, good stuff, good advice. But in particular, this is what he said. He said, Kansas State, I'm watching you. You got something there. Kansas State, Marquise Noel. And then he said, oh, Flynn, yeah, you, San Diego State. You got something too. So Cuttino Mobley's pointing out of all the players at the RICO Hines runs, he's like giving kudos and nods to the 2 point guards he liked were ours, Noel and Flynn. So I like that. That's good because he has a real good eye. He can coach, and he's been in the Big Three recently, and he is a really storied NBA vet that has accomplishment and is respected for his opinions and things. So I like that he put the nod towards Noel and Flynn at the end of that clip, you know. And then RICO gave props to Harrison Barnes at one point. But the very most important thing that was said was at the very end of this clip, and you need to watch it all the way to the end. RICO Hines basically told us more of what happened last season with the Raptors. I'm telling you, he did. He straight up said it right at the end of the clip. You watch it, you'll hear him. He said, listen, y'all, this is my advice for y'all. You don't be doing this on your team where you're saying, well, so-and-so's doing this and so-and-so's doing that. Forget about what they're doing. Just take care of yourself and stop talking back and forth. Talking this guy's doing this and this guy's doing this. Because you know what happens? People get fired, is what he said. And I'm like, what? I was like, what? He just said, you watch it and listen to what he says through the lens of the Raptors season last year, what all happened, and you think about what he's trying to say right there. As the new coach of the Sixers, that was a former coach of the Raptors last year. And you tell me if he wasn't saying something on the last day of the RICO Hines runs to the players about what happened at the end of the Raptors season last year. and what happened with Nick getting fired and why. I think he just gave us the biggest piece of the puzzle. There was a little bit of this and this talking around the team where people were kind of talking about why is this guy doing this and what is this guy doing. I'm pretty sure Fred is one of the guys because he's gone now, and hopefully this is one of the things. And maybe it was Scottie. I don't know. Maybe that was directed directly at our guys at the end of the RICO run, since all the Raptors are right there. And maybe he was warning them. He's like, look, y'all, this is how y'all messed up y'all season last year and got Nick fired. This is what y'all need to cut out, is stop the little gossiping and chattering about what other dudes are doing to work out or what they're doing in this or what doing that. Just work on yourself. Focus on yourself. And that you'll be fine. And that was his advice at the end of the clip. And I was like, holy crap. And not only that, he just something so funny. Honestly, this was hilarious. It made me bust out laughing. One of the people at this RICO runs for this clip is Josh Primo from Toronto. We know about Josh Primo, former San Antonio Spur that has been banished from the league for the last year because he was doing inappropriate things when he was seeing his therapist. Right. He was flashing his therapist. He's like, I didn't know it was hanging out, this kind of thing. Well, RICO says at the end of the clip, this is so funny. Y'all watch it and you'll see it. He says at the end of the clip, and if y'all are having trouble or something like that, y'all go see a therapist. And I'm like, dude, Josh Primo's standing 10 feet from you, man. He's like, you actually tell them to go see a therapist. And I'm like, dude, do you realize what you just said and to who's there and stuff like that and the mess he's in because of that? Oh my gosh. But besides that funny little mislip by RICO saying that, tell them to go see a therapist with Josh there. Josh looked good. Like, seriously, the thing about Josh Primo is he's got really long arms and he put muscle on his frame since he's been banished. He looked like a different player. He looked more like Karis LeVert in a way with how much strength he had. Because when he was in the Spurs before, he was such a skinny little kid. Now he looks like he's grown and matured a bit and he has more muscle now. I don't know. That's very intriguing. I hope he's gone to his therapist more and kept it in his pants and really gotten more therapy for why he didn't keep it in his pants. Then maybe he'll find his way back to the NBA. I don't know. In some ways, it's weird that they would get mad at a guy for this. I know it's really bad and inappropriate that he did this, but you know, these guys are beating up their wives and stuff, and they're having easier paths to get back to the league. It seems like, I don't know. Either way, all of them are creepy and gross, but still, it's like that was such a weird thing for RICO to say. Go see your therapist. Like, dude, Josh is right there. I saw Eric Curry at that clip too. He was sitting on the sidelines, taking it all in, sitting there with Jim Sand. So we had a whole Raptors coach contingency over in the corner that they just didn't show on cameras very often. And Darko was definitely there. That must have been so weird, the energy in that building with Nick on one side and Darko sitting on the other. Man, that game, that third game of the season when the Sixers come to Toronto is going to be a big deal that Saturday. Holy crap, that's going to be a big deal. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Wow. And wow. Definitely watch the latest Rico Hines clips. You're going to see Gary Trent looking good with the shot. That team, once again, is very dominant. Jakob, Scottie, Grady, Malachi, and Gary were the team once again. And it really is that, you know what these guys are doing? The three-point shooters, Grady, Gary, and Malachi, really are so unselfish, and they're really looking for each other in the open man. And this may be Darko's direction, saying, y'all, I want y'all to absolutely be open. Y'all are all really good shooters. Work it around. Because they did. There's some really good passing around the three-point line in this clip between Grady, Gary, and Malachi, and they work it to the guy who's open, and then bam, they nail it. Because all three of them are dead eyes. And in some ways, they can play a little bit of a three-point or hot potato around the arc. That's very kind of fun and intriguing for the season. We didn't see a lot of these guys throwing it around the horn like that last year. This year, we probably will. And it could be very fruitful for open threes that get made. So, yeah, just a little review on the Rico Hines clip that just came out. It was fantastic once again. It's very long, so there's a lot of clips. You see Josh Primo. You see Rico tell us what happened with the Raptors last year at the end. Seriously, I'm going to read into it like that. He was directly talking to the Raptors players when he said that. He really was. Let's see. Tom Duke is saying, oh, wait, we're on Kareem. Kareem Thomas is here. My cousin in Brooklyn asked me in like 1999 if we lived in igloos in Toronto. it was at that point I knew that Americans don't know shit outside of America. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. This is why I'm an expert on this subject, is because I'm a Canadian guy who moved to Florida when I was 4 years old and raised on Florida public school system all the way up until I was 18 when I graduated from university and I came back to Canada in 98 or something, 99. So I know because I was getting the teachings that they get taught, and I saw exactly how they get indoctrinated into patriotism and just like blind faith and leader in the country and all this kind of stuff. And it's really kind of like a shame thing, or like a thing where they look down on you if you're not like them, if you don't conform to being a patriot. It's a really weird thing. And then in school, I hear what the kids say, and a lot of stuff that is crazy. Like I've described myself before as like Pip on South Park, the British kid. I was that Canadian kid, and there was all kinds of weird bullying and weird things, like kind of talking to me as like, oh, you're a communist country up there. And like they said all this crazy stuff. A lot of people were like make Michael J. Fox jokes back then in the 80s and different things like that. It was weird. Some of it was really dumb in hindsight, but as a little kid getting othered and getting to feel like you don't belong, and that you're kind of like somebody who shouldn't be there in some ways. I had that feeling when I was little, and it sucked. But in some ways, it formed me to make me who I am, the guy who fights for the little guy. Because in some, it really is a weird thing. And my experience being in the middle of it, being raised down there, is very, very. It's not unique. I know a lot of people have done that, but I know it just because of that. So Cowboy saying, laugh out loud, Kareem. Bam. Good to see the Cowboy giving dap. MK's here. Good to see Meredith. Good morning, Meredith. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Wanted to let y'all know I got the prize. There was a very nice ring in the box, and it's surprisingly heavy. Thanks again, Lex. There you go. MK got the Nick Nurse whistle. I signed it on the back. I hope it wasn't too bent because I had to put it in the box in a certain way. And he got a championship ring for his WNBA fantasy championship that he just won just recently. That's right. On the Raptor Free channel, we do fantasy leagues and different contests, and there are real prizes, and we do meet and greets. So there's all kinds of fun stuff we're doing on here. So in fact, we're going to try and go to the Cairns Taipans game of the preseason, October the 15th, as a group. And so I'm hoping that some more people can come down there, and we're going to get something organized and get some seats together and actually go to the first preseason game as people from the channel. So that's awesome. MK, I'm so glad you got your ring. Thank Commissioner Jay for the ring that was sent from him and as part of the prize. And I'm so happy you got a championship ring. I know you show your bling off. There's a squirrel right next to me. He's making a lot of noise. He's watching me. He wants to know what I'm doing. It's all good, man. You want to come over? He's like, you're chattering like me, is what he's saying. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, some of my family members who live in the USA have a weird optic on Canada and actually the world. I strongly believe traveling opens your mind. Culture is beautiful. This is absolutely the cure. Fiercely's got the prescription for this. Just get out of your own neck of the woods and go look other places, and find out that maybe, there's a humanity out there that you don't respect as much as you should. That's what most people find when they do go somewhere that they've never gone. It's like, wow, I didn't even actually realize this place was really like this. And the people here are so nice. I didn't realize that this, I had a whole other idea about what this place was. It's very interesting phenomena. And, ignorance is bliss. It's bliss to be an idiot and to not be well informed in some ways. It's true. It sucks. In some ways it's sad too when it's your own family and you're like, wow, why do you have this belief? I live up here. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Fiercey's saying, I read that. Monique's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good luck to everyone at tryouts right now. Yeah, Monique corrected me last night. And she's exactly right. I don't know why. I guess I didn't really look at the date correctly. And I just figured those tryouts would be yesterday on a Saturday, but they're actually today. So the tryouts for the Raptors 905 are actually happening today. I, for some reason, thought they were yesterday. I guess I just took it for granted that they would do it on a Saturday. I didn't think they'd do it on a Sunday. It's kind of weird. But they are today. And Monique, thank you for correcting me. We do want to be an accurate channel. So I apologize for misleading people and making them think that it was yesterday. I really honestly thought it was. I guess I should have really looked at the dates. I've been really kind of in two worlds. Like I'm out here working and doing different things and in family mode, and I'm not totally doing my regular kind of stuff for this channel, unfortunately, in some ways. But it is what it is, and I truly value the time I'm spending with everybody, and that's important. Cowboys saying Kareem and Fiercey need a dunk layup. Okay, Cowboys got two basketballs, and he's throwing them both at the same time, but he's throwing them in opposite directions from the half court, and they're both alley-ooping at the same time at opposite ends of the court. I like this. All right, we're going to give a dunk to Kareem, and we're giving a dunk to Fiercey because our alley-oop leader is calling it out. He called it out. He ooped it, and that's what we do. He ooped it, and they hooped it. That's what happened. Yeah, there we go. Fiercey saw Sarah getting one, too. There we go, Cowboy. There we go. G saying, if we're going to deplete the team, it would be for a young player like SGA, where you can build out the team within a few years. OKC will not trade him, but point being, a younger, hungry version. Yeah, in some ways, I agree with this. One of the stats about Dame Lillard that's interesting that got put in my face recently is he's only won 4 playoff series his whole entire career. How many years has he been in the league? He's been in the league like 14 years or something, and he's only won 4 playoff series the whole entire time he's been in the NBA. In some ways, I get it. He's going to blame his team and not having good enough stuff around there. But Portland fans telling me they tried to put good stuff around him, and it just didn't happen. In some ways, a track record of not being totally successful in the playoffs is not attractive to me. That's something that's different about Leonard and Lillard also. Leonard had the pedigree of a finals MVP and a championship with the Spurs already. In some ways, Lillard is not a known quantity to get you to the promised land like Leonard was at that time, because this man has gone nowhere in the playoffs. And when he has, it's been short-lived. And sometimes it's just by the skin of his teeth, with him hitting a buzzer beater or something like that and having to score like 50 points. So, yeah, in some ways, I can start slanting this in negative ways for why we shouldn't get him. He's not a proven playoff winner. He definitely is not. He definitely is not right there. So let's keep going. Yeah, I like SGA much more, G. Kareem saying, I'm at a point, Lex, that if the rumors are true in Boston, I try and make a move for Malcolm Brogdon instead of crippling our team for Lillard. This is true. I haven't brought this up. This is a little bit of a dumpster fire in the Celtics I haven't really brought up, and I should have. Malcolm Brogdon's really upset with the Celtics right now because they put him in a couple of trade talks this summer, and he was really upset because he was ready to stick with them and be loyal to them for a while. See, this is part of the reason why Brian Winder's dead last in transaction thing is faulty. Because you start trying to do too much wheeling and dealing, and if it's realistic and it almost happens where you get the trigger pulled, that was what the deal was. Memphis was trying to get smart, and they didn't want Brogdon. That was the switch. It was originally supposed to be Brogdon that was going to the Memphis Grizzlies, but they switched it or something, and that messed up and like Brogdon with the Celtics because he now doesn't trust them. He's like, you just tried to trade me. So he's asking out of Boston now. This is insane. So in some ways, there is an opportunity here. I don't like Malcolm Brogdon. I don't like how he picked the Celtics last summer instead of us. They asked him. The Pacers said, "Do you want to go to the Raptors or do you want to go to the Celtics?" And he chose the Celtics. So fuck him. I don't want him up here. We don't need him. I know that you would want to get him maybe, but I don't think we need anybody at this point. I just want to see what this group does. And I think Malcolm Brogdon, he's a good player. And he could be helpful in some ways, but in some ways, I'm like, fuck him. He picked the Celtics last year. Fiercely saying, somebody made an interesting observation. Fred, being American, has an allegiance to a team based in the USA, and Pascal loves Toronto way more. This is totally true. Cool Cat and I were talking about this a little bit last week. That's part of the reason why the Raptors should try and be a more international team, because it is true. This has been part of the problem on the download. It's the problem with Vince. It's the problem with Chris Bosh. It's the problem with Chauncey Billups. It's the problem with Kenny Anderson. It's a problem with Steve Francis. It's a problem with Dame Lillard, apparently. That they don't totally respect Canada. They don't respect coming to play for this team. So why would we want players that aren't going to put their all into the team and try and win if they, in the first place, they don't really like the place or respect the people here? And in some ways, that is enough for me to know. There may be people that are like okay with it, like Fred and Norm. They love being here and they love being on this team, but in some ways, they're internalized the propaganda that I've described at the beginning of this stream of growing up in the States, of all the bullshit. And there's a certain level of like, well, Canada's still second class country to America in their minds, as far as in the hierarchy of things. So that's not part of the problem. In some ways, they feel like they're in the second best just because they're in Canada. And that's part of the problem with, and some of these guys are really egotistical, and they want to be ultimate competitors and winners. And in some ways, they feel like if they're in Canada, they don't have the best chance to compete, or maybe they're lazy and they know it's harder to win when you play on our team. Maybe they know the referees are not very nice to us, and in some ways, they stay away from our team because of that. This is more likely the reasons than things like, oh, it's too cold, or all the dumb reasons they used to say before. Either way, there is a strong perception war always going on to make Toronto seem like an unattractive place to play in the NBA. And it's continuing right now, and it's happening very heavy because of Lillard and the talk around us. And whether it's fans saying it, whether it's NBA media people saying it, whether it's players saying it behind closed doors, it's all the same thing. It's ignorance. And listen, we want people who want to come here and try and win championships with us. And if we have to find them from around the world instead of our neighbor to the north, so be it. I'll take that pool any day. There's so many good players around the world from all different countries at this point. There's so many good players coming from our own country right now. So, listen, I don't mind having really good American players. Scottie really does love Toronto and Canada. I don't put him in any of these categories that I just named. He's an honest, like, for real person that he doesn't see the difference in playing for the Raptors or playing for an American NBA team. He really does just want to compete. And in some ways, he likes the idea of having the whole country on his shoulders to carry and to try and win a championship with. Because in some ways, if he gets what Kawhi got, he will embrace it more strongly, and he won't disrespect it like Kawhi did. He will. He'll stay here because, honestly, he understands if he's the king of Canada, that's a big deal. That is a very big deal. And that may be what he's trying to do right now. Seriously. But this is true. Fred, in some ways, I got the same feeling from Norman, too. Both those guys, when they left our team, they breathed sighs of relief to a degree. And in some ways, I'm feeling that from Fred and his energy this summer since he left. And it's on a different level. It may be a comfort level because he's back in the States. Cowboys saying Toronto is the culture of the world, hands down. Yeah, we've been named the most international city in the world now. We've overtaken New York City and London. And these cities, they have metrics for this. This is a serious thing. They have stats for this. And we have overtaken as the most multicultural, diverse city in the entire world. Toronto is. Yep, they did the numbers, and we are up there now. It used to be those other cities were ahead of us, but we're actually number one at this point. Mo's saying Chris Broussard is a bum. Plain and simple. Thank you, Mo. Thank you. Yes, I agree with you. And he got put in his place pretty quick by various people, whether it was Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, many, many, many former Raptors speaking up and saying what he said was stupid. What he said was very, very stupid, And I totally agree with you. He's a bum, and I don't even know what he's doing these days. Country Kong saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Let me see. I got to get back there. La, 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 la. No. Pascal. Oh, wait. Who's that? Hang on, Country Kong. I'm on Country Kong. Good morning, Raptor Freak team. Lex, back in 2007, I went to Disneyland with my sister. We ran into one of their employees handing out flyers. He said, I like y'all's accent. Where y'all from? Toronto? That sounds far. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, Disneyland, you're going to see a lot of people from around the world there for sure. Now, you were in Disneyland, so you were in California. Disney World's in Florida. Which one were you at? I want you to clarify, Country Kong, because it matters. Disneyland is very different than Disney World. Disney World is the one I went to all the time. I've never been to Disneyland. That's in Anaheim. Cowboys saying alley-oop to Mo. All right, Mo's getting an alley-oop. Look at this guy's Trae Young today. He's just throwing him up every which way. Look at Bradley do his Trae Young impersonation here. The number one in lobs. All right, here we go. Tom Duke saying it's not Dame time in Toronto. Raptors big three. That's right. Let's see what we got with PS43, OG number 3, and Mr. SB4. That's right. I want to see what these three guys, the three amigos, have in store. And what about Mr. Precious? I'm serious, y'all. Precious showed that flash of him being able to be somebody that can score in the lane off the dribble. And it looked really good. Cowboys saying, hope you're feeling better, Granny Swag. Bam. Yeah, I hope you are feeling better, Evelyn. Kareem saying, yo, I woke up from a crazy dream. Check this out. I had a dream that Jakob Poeltl was pushing the ball down the court and then threw up an alley-oop to Grady Dick. Well, I woke up like I won the lottery. This actually did happen, I think, in that Rico Hines run. There was a play where Jakob had to pick up the dribble and he's coming up court and he threw the ball up the court to Grady and Grady made a layup. It wasn't a dunk totally. It was kind of a layup, but he collected it and made it. That's the big important thing. I really like the early synergy showing between Grady Dick and the established Raptors, the guys that are already on the team. It looks like Grady has really good, easy chemistry with Scottie for sure and Jakob. And we'll have to see. He was also working really well, as I said earlier, with Malachi and Gary with passing the ball around the horn and looking for each other in an unselfish way. I mean, they're all three money. So it's like, why would you mess with that? You can trust each other, and all three of y'all are going to hit it. And just get the best one out of all three of y'all. And Darko's watching. He's in the corner. It's awesome. Cream, I'm going to give you a dunk for your dream just because it was a reality, except it was a layup. It wasn't a dunk. Mo's saying, looks like Dennis is on his way here via Instagram. Ellen and Dennis last night. All right, Monique's giving me the cue. She's giving me the 2 letters, Instagram. And yeah, Dennis hopefully will be on his way here. He's had a couple of things he's still doing right now since he had the championship stuff with his hometown in Germany. He's got a soccer team. And he's got a couple of other things like ventures, like a skateboarding team. And he's kind of been around events for that kind of stuff in recent days. But it is seeming like you need to get your butt over here because it's going to be October soon, Dennis. And in some ways, y'all need to get your life together. I have a feeling that what's going to happen is Ellen's going to show up and she's going to absolutely have to set everything up for their family here in Toronto. And in some ways, we may get to see all of it because it's on YouTube probably. So hopefully we'll see the process of how they acclimate to coming to Toronto because it is basically like the Osbournes or Hogan Knows Best at this point. Watching Dennis Schroeder's family is a reality show. So we'll be privy to this. Watch. But let's go see what's happening on the Instagram. We got Mr. New York City up first, and he's showing a collage from his last month. There's a picture of him looking in the camera, and then he's got his quote where he says he's going to win many multiple NBA championships and finals MVPs. So he's still putting that on blast. He's proud of it. And that him at the mogul's house. So Marquise is having a good life. He's saying shout out to those sitting at home right now, sucker free, thinking and planning. It's time, yo. It's coming in time. There you go. He's on the rise. He's serious. There's a lot of charisma in Mr. New York City and his just who he is, small of stature, but big in heart. He's going to come out there and show everybody. Watch. Seriously, the shots that he was making in the Rico Hines runs clip yesterday that I watched is like, these are a bona fide jump shot. Like he is a good shooter. That's something that we're not talking about enough with Marquise. He's not just a little guy that can pass and dribble and handle the ball and be quick. He's actually a very good shooter also. He's a dead eye. And I see his mechanics and the way he makes a shot. I have faith in him on making long threes or pulling up and taking little quick shots too. So Marquise is asking us, he's read 10 plus books in the last 2 years, and he feels better and better each time he completes a good read. He wants to know what book should he read next after he's done with this James Allen book that he's reading right now. So if you want, go to his Instagram and write in a reply and give him some book recommendations because Marquise is a voracious reader and he wants to enrich his life with more reading. So yeah, he's also saying in all human affairs, there are efforts and there are results. And the strength of the effort is the measure of the result. Read that again. You might have missed it. He's very much saying you got to work to get it. He's been saying that a couple times in the last couple of days on his Instagram. He's Jay-Z talking on here. Yeah, good stuff from Marquise on there. Let's see who else we got in the Instagram today. We got Steve Nash hanging out with Dirk Nowitzki. That's cool to see Dirk and Steve together. Zach Eddy's with some rings and his Purdue guys, of course. They're all blinged out. I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see. Scottie, your boy Scottie is celebrating the FSU win yesterday. Let's go Noles. That's right. FLORIDA. STATE. Flossy. Woo! That's right. Actually, the Noles are on how many game win streak? 10 game win streak from last season. They have won 10 in a row. And they're back on top, baby. Florida State is coming back, baby. That's right. And Scottie is hyped about it. I love to see Scottie's Seminole pride, just like I have, being an alma mater from there also. Dennis Schroeder is getting on a jet, it looks like, on his Instagram. I don't know where he's flying to exactly. He may be taking that small jet to a bigger city to get the big jet to fly over to Canada, but we'll have to see. Let's see. There's him at a basketball game. This is one of his projects. I think this is a league that he's involved in ownership with, and he was there to support the team. Dennis is there. His teammate Connor Opes has said we are definitely the world champions, Germany, and he's getting upset with people saying that they're not. There's a nice picture of Ellen and Shay and his wife, and also Dennis. And she's got a look on. He's looking. He took a picture, and she's got this look at him, and I think he's saying it's a dirty look. And he's like, "What are you looking like that, bae?" And it's like, then he shows a close up of her. I don't know. She looks a little annoyed, but I don't think she's that upset, Dennis. No reason to put her on blast on social media like this, No reason to do that. Maybe she gets more follows. Dennis it looks like he's at the airport hanging out with the police at the airport and saying, "Thanks for getting me through security. Easier, guys." This is something that was on his channel, actually. It's really funny. I was watching some of his old clips. And sometimes when Dennis is in the German airports, they don't let him fly because I don't know if it's racism or what, but they give him a hard time for passport stuff. So that was part of the problem with him trying to get here earlier this summer. So he wants to be friends with those police officers at the airport so he can get through. And so there's a happy picture of him with them because he has had issues traveling. It's really weird. He was talking about it on his YouTube once. I watched it. Yeah, we out. So that looks like they are getting on the plane 16 hours ago. Let's see where they're landing. They're talking about the cologne that he's got. Oh, and there's a picture of Shay's little son, Maliko, and he's making a layup in a little junior game of basketball. So that's Dennis's nephew in that clip. That's not junior. And there's the 905 tryouts. There's an hour ago at OVO Center. They're checking in on it. Let's see what's going on down there. Looks like there's a good group down there. There's opening words from the new GM of the Raptors 905, Luke Wynn, just got the job. And it looks like I would say there's about 100 people down there. I don't know if I can see Alistair. They got them doing a warm-up, backing up and hop jumping. So, yeah, they work those Raptors 905 walk-ons. That's right, locked in. Let's see if this guy's got any skills. That's kind of a lofted pass. Let's see if that guy missed it. Oh, there's a three-point shot by number 35. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see if there's anything fruitful at the tryouts. Ron Harper Jr. is posting DeMar DeRozan. He's talking about just as long as you're working hard to get better yourself in those moments, it's okay not to be okay to be okay. That's right. So DeMar knows he's a very wise vet in this league, been through a lot. There's your Raptors Instagram check. It does look like Dennis is on a jet. And hopefully it's straight to Canada. I don't know on that little jet if they're doing that. Maybe they take a little jet all the way around. Good stuff. Thank you, Monique, for shouting out the Instagram. Tom Duke saying, Jakob Poeltl leading the break stood out to me too. That was not a dream. See, pitch yourself, Kareem Thomas. Jakob being the point guard. Uh-oh, Scottie. There's a new contender in the ring. Poeltl wants to be the point guard now. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Pascal and OG love it here. Scottie is earning the most money out of his rookie class here in Canada. I don't care about anyone more who want to think negatively about playing here in Toronto. That's right. We don't need them. We don't need to listen to them. We don't need to give them the day or time. We'll show up in the court and play them. How about that? Just like LeBron's remembering everybody who slights him. We'll remember who's slighting us, and we'll put them on a list. And when we play them, we're going to beat them. That's what I'm talking about too, Cool Cat. That's right. We're doing our own thing. And this is the crazy thing. They can think we're going to be bad this year, but everybody's going to be so shocked when the Raptors are actually one of the best teams in the league. They don't know what they're talking about, and they're going to find out because Scott's coming to tell them. Watch. He's coming to tell them the third year is the jump year. And this man looked like he jumped from what I'm seeing at RICO Hines. That's not the same Scott at RICO Hines last year. That is not the same Scott. That is looking like Giannis, LeBron. I'm taking over the game, all-around superstar. I'm going to block shots. I'm going to get rebounds. I'm going to pass it. I'm going to hit threes. I'm going to dunk it. I'm really dunk it, like throw it down on you. There's a one play in transition where Malachi finds Scottie in transition, and he hammers it down. And he like runs into the wall, and these little kids are standing against the wall, and they're like scared. They're like, oh, and they're like, oh, and then like that would have been like that moment that Scottie had last year where he talked about the LeBron fan, and then all the LeBron Nation came after him. For it's like, oh, look at that dick eater is what he said. Whoa, wait a second. But yeah, it was the same kind of situation, except this was in play, and it was a beautiful play. Malachi got that bounce past him, and he got it in stride, and wow, yeah, it was nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, there we go. G-San watched the RICO runs yesterday. No one boxes out. Bad habits. I saw in those runs, no one was posting up either. Malachi actually looked good. Was happy for him. Gee, I saw your comment on the post, and I was like, I liked it. And yeah, you're right. And what was happening was the second team, the team with Precious, Chris, Ron Harper Jr., Jeff Doughton Jr., Javon Freeman Liberty, and Marquise Noel switching in and out. They were not playing defense, and they were also not boxing out. They looked really bad. Now, there was a little bit of that with the main squad with Scottie and them, but it wasn't as egregiously bad as that other team. That other team was doing bad, and Precious was getting pissed. Did you hear him in that clip? He was yelling at the other guys, the two-way guys, to get their act together and start like catching their man and doing just the basic stuff that team guys have to do. Yeah, Precious got mad at them. I heard him 2 times yelling at them for not doing their jobs. So that really is kind of just like we can clear that up with, just getting these guys to rededicate. But you're good eye. You're exactly right. But it really was that Raptors team B that was kind of like not doing that too well. There were a little bit of lapses with the team A also. But yeah, it was bugging me. At some point, they just weren't playing defense, and it really bugged Precious. You saw him; he was like yelling at them. It was crazy. We even got to see the Raptors team C a little bit, which is Daryl Morsel and David O'Banner. But they were on a weird team with other players that were I didn't even know who those guys were. But we did see a little bit of David O'Banner in that clip and Daryl Morsel, which was interesting that the 905 player Daryl Morsel is there working out there. He was funny. He was going at IT. It was funny. He was getting to play against Isaiah Thomas, and he was really making a little bit of talking and John and going at each other. Daryl Morsel. He makes that little lane shot. He likes to dribble into the lane and pull up real quick and hit that shot. That's the Morsel shot. He did it all year last year at 905. So, yeah, really deep Raptors content in those 47 minutes on the latest RICO runs. Yeah, really, really deep stuff. Yeah, I agree with you, G. It was annoying, but, in some ways it is RICO's runs, and it isn't kind of like, it is what it is. But Malachi looked good. I'll agree with that, too. He was just playing within himself, and he was passing nice. He was playing good defense. And, when he got open shots, he looked good when he shot them. Tom Duke saying Flynn is going to be great this year. Just saying. Scottie really does like to do a stare down. Yeah, and he's increasing it. Scott had a really good mantra this summer. Work in silence and show the progress when you show up. It's like he really is making progress on the down low, and we're seeing a little bit of it in these RICO highlights. And when he comes back, with no Freddie around, there's going to be some interesting things that are going to happen with Scott this year. I'm telling you, this is going to be a very interesting year this year. I'm very excited about it. I wish him all the best in everything. I want him to get everything he wants as far as accolades, scoring, whatever, doing this, doing that. Just do it right, Scott, and best health and good luck and fortune and major, major W's for the Raptors all year. That's what we want for y'all. Cowboy saying, can't wait to see Coloco. These years, Scottie's a beast. This year, Scottie's a beast. Let's go Raptors. There you go, Cowboy. Yeah, I wish Coloco was playing. He's sitting there with Darko. He kind of looked bummed. He was kind of like laying back like this, kind of like it didn't even look like they had seats. They were sitting on like mats, gym mats or something. I don't know what was going on there. Trevor Jason, when you ask American where they travel, I think they think America is New York, Chicago, Miami, California, Texas. That's their world. Well, my former father-in-law, my ex-father-in-law, he would only go to Bahamas. He's like, I'll leave the country. I'll go to Bahamas. And he'll come back to the States. That's the only place he went internationally. And I don't think he needed a passport to go to Bahamas because of the agreement with the States or something like that. So it's like, yeah, like when I married his daughter and we were moving to Toronto, he said, see ya, I'm never going to come visit y'all. I don't go to Canada. That's what he said. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. All right, Country Con saying Scottie and Precious are scary. They were unstoppable. Love the plays we ran. They were even better than Nick's plays. Grady just consistently makes the right play. Malachi knows what time it is. Yeah, it all seems like it's coming together. One thing I'll say about these RICO runs this year compared to last year is there's a little bit more of a familiarity with our guys and comfort of playing with each other. And this is what we've been trying to build. The reps, the time together, the familiarity, and the second nature of knowing where guys are going to be and their tendencies. The more and more these guys play together, the more they understand each other individually. And that is what we're seeing more of. There's a lot more connection between the Raptors at the RICO runs than other teams. in some ways. If you really pay attention, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's awesome. I love seeing it. And you're right. Scottie and Precious are the two biggest young studs down there. People will start talking about Sixers this, Sixers that. People will talk about Josh Christopher this, Josh Christopher that, whatever. The two badasses down there, Scottie's number one for sure. But in this latest clip, Precious is showing something that people should be very, very afraid of when they have to play the Raptors. Seriously. Really, really afraid of. Monique saying that latest RICO video was Chef's Kiss. Chef approved by Greg in the Gubs Down Clink. That's right. Chef approved. Is that what that makes that noise or something? Yeah, I agree with you, Monique. G saying Grady is not just a shooter. He's a cutter, too. He's also a hustler, a rebounder. He's a pretty doggone cerebral player as far as like defense and trying to help. He may not be the most athletic, talented defender, but he's going to use his body and be an impediment in certain ways that'll be just effective enough. He's not going to be an OG Anunoby defender, but in some ways, I don't think he's going to hurt us on defense as much as I thought he might. When we drafted him, I think he's going to be okay on defense. In fact, if he has like plus defenders around him, Scottie, OG and Precious, those kind of guys, yeah, he can be covered up because he's not going to mess up that bad. In some ways, he's really good to recover, and he's not going to be like slacking. That's the one thing about him is he works hard. You can tell he's out there working hard. He's going to be using all of his energy. It's very much very Yuta Watanabe like is what I'm saying. He's just an energy burst is what I'm saying. Cool Cat saying I will watch RICO runs this week. Wanted to wait until all the clips drop. Yeah, watch them, Cool Cat. You're going to enjoy them. Honestly, I watched it late last night after everybody went to sleep, and it was really, really enjoyable. I was like, had the headphones on. I was trying to be quiet, but there were moments where I laughed out loud. There were moments where I was like, "Oh!" And I was like, and I love watching the Sixers versus the Raptors in this, and they keep the score up, so you get a little bit of feel like an NBA game because you are competing for the Raptors to beat the Sixers and Nick Nurse. So there's a lot of that in these clips. These last two clips specifically, you may want to skip most of the Rico Hines clips from the summer. There's Norm's show. It's a lot of Norm and Powell show earlier, but these last two clips, they're the Raptor show, and they are badass. They are very badass, and you're going to love them. Cool Cat. Highly recommend. Kareem saying, Flynn looking much better, having Doughton on his ass lit a fire under his ass. Precious looking like what I expected last year. Gary Trent didn't want to play defense, and Boucher is not a pickup game player. You know what? These are all excellent points. I want to break down each one of them. Yeah, Flynn is looking way more confident, composed. It's interesting. In some ways, I wonder about guys like him and Chris and Precious playing in front of Nick in that setting. And like, what is that part of why Malachi gets up? And he's like, look, I'm going to show you some stuff that you didn't believe in me that I'm doing now. That kind of feeling. I get that feeling from part of the reason why you take pride in what you're doing. And in some ways, this coach didn't let you play. Well, let's show him something is what's going on here. Doughton has been really good for Flynn. I agree with this. That competition has been good for him. It's exactly right. But in some ways, I'm worried about Jeffrey. Jeffrey doesn't look as sharp in these RICO runs as he did last summer going into the season last year. And in some ways, I'm worried for him that his spot on our team, and he may be going to the Delaware Bluecoats after all. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll see who gets the battle for the training camp and all that stuff, what happens with the shakeup, with the final roster. In some ways, Jeffrey does not look good to make this team in some ways, in my eyes, at least from what I saw at RICO runs. Of course, they may not matter. What matters will be training camp and the preseason games, probably more. So we'll have to see. Precious looks like what you expected last year. Yeah, I've seen this arc starting. The injury last year really kind of screwed this up. He may would have gotten much more leaps by the end of last year if he hadn't missed such a huge chunk right in the middle of the season. So maybe this is part of what we would have gotten at the end of last season starting now. We remember that the first year Precious was on our team, he made a huge jump after the All-Star break. He was at the Rising Stars game, and it gave him some sort of weird confidence where for the second half of the season, for the whole rest of the season, he was off the chain good. So in some ways, he's got levels where he could jump up and be a very dominant, good player for us in certain ways. We just got to feed him the right way. And in some ways, I have more faith in Darko to unlock Precious in certain ways. Think about that. Think about that right there. Let's see. You're also saying Gary didn't want to play defense. Yeah, he was a little lazy in that clip, playing a little lazy. Rico had some funny different like things that he was getting on to people and talking to them about on it. Rico's so funny. He's such a personality, and he's so authentic and just him. I love him. And it's really fun to see how he runs those runs. And I loved hearing Katino Mobley. That was so cool. Honestly, you got to watch this. You just got to watch this, cool cat. Let's see. Boucher is, what, that part about Boucher is true. He's a role player, and this may be part of the reason why he doesn't fit with Team Canada either. Boucher is such a unique player. In some ways, he's catered to the NBA game and not to a pickup game, not to a FIBA game. And yeah, he did look a little bit like a fish out of water out there. He does okay sometimes. Like he'll hit the threes here and there, but not in some ways. It's like it's such a weird game, and he needs a system and kind of know exactly what his role is defined as for him to thrive correctly. So I agree with you. It's tough for him to play pickup in some ways or in that environment to look really, really good. But that doesn't mean he's not a good NBA player and he's going to look good on the NBA court. And that's what matters more to me as far as things. G saying Noel's passes are bullets. Yeah, he was really like some of the stuff he did was like, holy crap, he got the ball over that guy. I thought he was throwing it at the guy under the basket, but he's throwing it at the guy in the corner. And I'm like, wait, that's like, whoa. And he threw that really accurately and quickly. Yeah, there was a bullet pass in there. I saw it. Let's see. Infamous saying, salute Raptors family. Great observation, Lex. Never caught that. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. So, and that's a good sign that there's many. It's all good. Good to see you, Infamous. Kareem saying, Masai and Bobby should take a look at Isaiah Thomas if some cuts are made after camp. Man, that'd be interesting. He's a great leader. I love what he said when he had his little speech after practice in the recent RICO clip too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was money. He was hitting shots good, but in some ways he looked like Marquise's doppelganger. They're both really little guys, and they have a really similar skill set. So I don't know. Maybe as a mentor to Marquise, but in some ways it's like, look, if nobody else is taking a chance on IT right now at this point, this is a couple years out, man. I don't know if he's going to find his way back in. He's really trying, though. I can tell. Cowboy saying, wake and bake. Is that what you're calling for? The alley-oop? I did kind of already. I'm outside. Why not? Cool Cat saying, I was wondering when Rico would speak the truth. Yep, we had so many youth last year that bickered, and was the result. Well, our bench, some of them are gone, and coaches. Yeah. Cool Cat, when you watch that clip, really listen to it with the lens that I just was kind of looking at it through myself. It really was like he was warning the Raptors franchise or roster about why Nick Nurse got fired last year and saying it very outward and openly on his clip so everybody can see it on his clips on YouTube too. It's like, wow, thank you. I mean, this is helpful. It's helpful to the fans. It's helpful to the players because hopefully they listen to him and understand what he's saying. And then hopefully it helps the Raptors to avoid having these kind of issues this year in any kind of way. It makes sense. If there's a little bit of gossiping around the team about what other teammates are doing or not doing, or maybe making judgments, and there's resentments and stupid stuff going on, that can be part of why chemistry is not good. And it may not be a direct feud or an actual we don't like each other. It may be just kind of like little secondary kind of stuff, but it's never something very primary or big, but it's enough of it to hurt the team morale and connectivity because they know that, oh, this guy's gossiping about me right now and I don't like it. And like, why did you say that about me at practice the other day? I was like, well, because you didn't do that. And like, there's just dumb stuff like that is happening. And maybe it is the leadership void was not stepping in and being the leader in those situations, whether it was Nick, whether it was a team player that didn't step into it for the team. So, man, and yeah, you knew it. I remember when Cool Cat said this. He's like, we're going to find out sometime. Like, I think you even said that Rico's probably going to tell us. Well, he did. He finally did. Infamous is saying Josh must have done something really serious that they're not saying to be kicked out of the league for exposing himself. Well, that's what they did. They kicked him out. Well, all right, let's take it this way. It was the Spurs. The Spurs are an organization that have morals and really are trying to be a very like walk the walk, kind of like we are a good like foundation. And they do for the most part. So Josh Primo did a very non-Spurs like thing. And he had to leave, and he had to leave that team in particular. Well, nobody else wanted to take a chance on him at that time, so he had no job in the NBA. I don't think he's officially suspended. It's just the kind of thing where it's like, we're not touching that. He comes into our team with that baggage of what he just did. Maybe they're waiting for some time to pass and things will be a little quieted down. Maybe he's getting therapy and he's getting help for his issue, and he'll be better for it soon. And then they can say, oh, well, he's gone and done therapy and he knows what he did was really wrong and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. In some ways, it's such a weird situation for somebody to be blackballed from the league for free balling. Basically, I shouldn't make jokes about this situation. It's not a funny situation in a lot of ways. But yeah, interesting to see him in the clip. And like I said, he's looking very buff, like strong. And he was playing inside. He wasn't really playing like guard stuff. He was doing like small forward stuff. Country Kong saying, Jakob throwing lobs at Grady, Gary Trent Jr. to Sixers rookie Trevion Smith. You got to show me. Yeah, there's a little chippiness and talking. Those Sixers players were trying to really beat us. This was a grudge match, even at Rico Hines runs. The Sixers versus the Raptors are going to be a grudge match from now on. It's just set up that way. I'm sorry. Y'all got our former coach. We've had a history in the playoffs. Yeah, it's a grudge match at this point. Even in a Rico Hines setting, it's a grudge match. Yeah, Wayne Strainer saying, wow, shout out to Rico and his training camp for providing great content. Started weak, but Rico loves basketball and he's not putting up with mediocrity. Again, you're a treasure, Lex. Thanks for that. No problem, Wayne. I appreciate your patronage and your time spent with me on the live stream and us informing each other and just, the camaraderie and family that we have here at the Raptors Freak family here. Yeah, I really love Rico Hines' runs. It did start real slow, but boy, did he finish it good. And of course, he knows what the best closing act is. It's the Toronto Raptors, baby. That's right. Cowboy saying, how much is a ticket to that game? To the Taipans? I don't know. To me, I think that in some ways, once again, the beginning of the preseason, people don't understand it's coming up. Second, this is a team that people aren't high on. So it's not like they're clamoring to come see them, the general public. It's crazy fans like us who are really diehard will be down there trying to get tickets. So what I'm thinking, Bradley, is we'll meet at the post, the star post in front in Jurassic Park, out in front of the Air Canada Center, Scotiabank, and we'll meet at a certain time, like 4:20 or something. We'll do a 4:20, and then we'll walk into the building and we'll go to the ticket office. Don't buy anything. Don't buy no tickets. We'll go into the office and we'll buy tickets directly from the Raptors at cost with no resale markup. And we will get tickets all together in a section in the building. And depending on where in the building, we'll see. If we can get something down below on the 100 level for a decent price, we'll do that. But if it's something where people are kind of like, I don't want to spend that much money, we'll go upstairs and we can sit upstairs also. I expect maybe, I don't know, a Raptors ticket at this point is the bottom is at least $50. So you're going to have to pay at least $50, but it could range from 50 up to 100. Depending on where we're going to sit. So that's what I'm looking at, Cowboy, right there in that scenario. And y'all listening to me right now, if you're in Toronto on October the 15th, on that Sunday, that's what I'm talking about doing this. Cool Cat saying preseason tickets were sold out fast. Seems only resale tickets available. Okay, see, this is good news from Cool Cat. That's amazing. But still, they said this about the WNBA game this season, this summer, that they were all sold out. But I went down there the day of the game. I didn't talk to the scalpers. I went to the office and they sold me a ticket for $40 that was right next to the court, like 10 rows up on the side of the court under the basket. So I'm just saying, in some ways, I don't believe that. What that is, Cool Cat, is the scammers buying up all the tickets right away to try and mark them up and sell them that way. Well, in some ways, I think that they hold tickets back, and sometimes they have tickets for sale in the office on the day of. That's what I think is going to happen, because Cairns Taipans is not going to have a demand. Nobody's going to know that game's happening, first of all. And part of it could be some of the resellers actually turn around and sell their ticket back to the office. I don't know. But I'm glad for that information. Adriana bought us tickets already to the Washington game. We're going to go, her and I, as a date. And they were only for resale. And I was like, wow, why didn't you wait? And I didn't know this. So I'm going to have to apologize to her that they sold out that quick and that there's only resale tickets up there right now. She tried to do something nice, and she did. It's amazing. She really knows me. She really does. Wayne's saying, let's make a Raptors Freak event for that game. Would love to hang with the Freaks. Yeah, we'll do that for Cairns Taipans. For that game, we'll go on that Sunday, and hopefully I'll get to meet you, Wayne. That'd be awesome. Tom saying, Lex, do you have clothes you wear to battle Buckthorn, or do you wear Raptors gear? And is it like a mascot matchup? Tom, for such a quirky, weird question, I'm going to go ahead and give you a dunk or two. Actually, Tom, I need to give you a new row because you're filled up your row. I'm giving you 2 dunks for that because that's just ludicrous and funny and creative. I wear different clothes. Yeah, I don't wear any Raptors gear when I'm in the yard because the Raptors gear is for being on the show, and I don't want to mess it up. So I'll wear like old work shirts from like the Oyster Shack down in Florida and just old work clothes usually when I'm battling the Buckthorn. Yeah. But thanks for the question. Buckthorn might have to be from Milwaukee. It's annoying, man. But yeah, I really kicked its butt some more a couple days ago. I had the chainsaw out, and I was getting in the middle of the trees and really carving out the buckthorn amongst the fir trees because I'm really trying to get it out of here so that it doesn't seed next spring. So yeah, man, it's so annoying. It's really annoying. But this place was not taken care of for like decades. So there's a buildup of wild plants in the yard that we need to take care of so that we can start doing what we want to do gardening wise. So it's going to be a process. Buckthorn's not easy to get rid of overnight. Trust me. And there's some buckthorn in this yard that's got like trunks this big. So that means they're roots and they're all connected. So it's almost like you need to rip up your whole yard to get them out. So I'm trying a couple of different techniques. And so far I've had some success. Meredith saying, thanks, Trevor J. The ring looks amazing. I'm glad you like it, Meredith. That's awesome. Yeah, Meredith's got bling. In some ways, Meredith, I want you to take a picture of you with the bling on and send it to me so I can post it in the Raptor Freak community on this channel, on this YouTube channel. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool Cat saying, nope, I don't want Malcolm Brogdon either. We approached him and he said no to us because the Celtics are further along. Not a good reputation. He will quit on us when pissed off. There you go. She's saying it right now. Like he's upset with them right now. Yeah, I'm with her on this. I think he's a good player, but I've never really wanted him. He doesn't really move the needle in my mind in some ways. Cowboys saying preseason tickets already for real. That's awesome. That just shows Toronto is thirsty for Raptors basketball. Let's go. I swear Toronto is now a basketball city, not hockey anymore. Well, it depends on who you ask. It depends on where you are too. I feel like in some ways downtown's more basketball in some ways than hockey, but in some ways that's not totally true. I don't know. It really is who you talk to. It may be different. If they're younger people, they're probably more likely Raptors. If they're older, it's more likely they're probably at hockey. So I don't know. Yeah, that's weird that they sold out so quick. In some ways, I'm worried about bots buying up the tickets really quickly and just to get that profit off resale market. I hate that so much. I hate that they all come in there really quick and snatch them all up. Even though they have measures to try and stop that, they still find ways around it and do this. The resellers out there that are making money doing this way, you're parasites and jerks. Just stop, please. If you're a season ticket holder that gets the tickets and you want to resell them, I get it. That's fine. But if you are somebody who buys tickets on bulk to resell to Raptors fans to make a profit off them and you have no intention of ever using those tickets, fuck you, is what I'm going to say right now. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Monique saying, Lex, that's why we're all here to help you out on forgetting things. Thank you, Mo. Exactly. If I'm not right, and obviously I'm putting myself out there saying all kinds of shit, I can be incorrect all the time, and I need fact checking. So when you guys fact check me, I don't have an ego in it. I just want to be as correct and factual and authentic and everything that's important as far as like what I'm saying. And if I'm wrong, y'all call me out on it. It's important for me to have checks and balances and not just be a voice and just say whatever. So it is important for everybody to kind of have that in their life. So yeah, thank you, Mo. I appreciate that part that you do. Wayne's saying no to Boston reject. I need advice on how to bet on Raptors games. I intend to leverage their disrespect by winning money to buy Raptors tickets. All right. Well, I mean, we could do the previews. In some ways, maybe I could do Wayne's Corner and try and help you on a game-to-game basis. I could add that somewhere in there where I can kind of tell you how to bet on the games that day if you want to. I feel like this is a situation where the team's getting underestimated and we actually have a really good chance to beat the other team. I'll let you know, Wayne, if you watch my previews for each game. So I could do that. I could do like Wayne's Corner and say, well, here, let's do Wayne's Corner real here. Wayne, should you bet on the Raptors to win today? Yes, is what I'll say. Or I'll say, nah, probably not on this one, just because, yeah, this is going on with this and this. Who knows? But yeah, I handicap games, Wayne. So if you want help game to game on this, I will help you with this. Cowboy saying that's a dunk, Tom. All right, Cowboy is, I don't know what's going on here. He's got the whole rack of basketballs like a 3-point shootout would have, and he's just taking them off the rack and throwing them to different Raptor freaks, and there's different dunks going every which way. So there you go. Cowboy just threw another lob to Tom Duke for his awesome Buck Thorn question. Yeah, there you go. I like it. Let's see. G saying, hang on, it jumped. Of course, it's always going to jump. We got to get our jump quota. I would take Brogdon. Imagine how hard he would play against them, trying to get the team to higher seeding to prove a point. At this point, though, want to see how this team plays out. Yeah, I think that's true. What he's saying, that he would have a drive against the Celtics, and that's not a bad thing to have around on the Raptors. But Delano's got that against us at this point. I think. I don't know. He loves us too. It'll be weird to see Delano against us on the Celtics. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you though. I think that this is the smart thing, is just proceed the way we are right now, going into the season. If things change, we need to make some roster moves in the season. I feel like Bobby and Masai will be ready to do it then. Cool Cat's saying poor Norm had to battle the stigma of living here. He was put in positions to talk about our chip. He came out and challenged Broussard, but he had to straddle the line to prop both countries. Yeah, it's got to be difficult in some ways. I mean, in some ways, it's like, listen, we don't really want you to propagandize or like kiss our ass. That's not what this is about with Canada. It's about respecting us and just saying, these are great people. And, I like them. I like America. I like Canada. It's not about like stratifying or doing anything like this. If you really want to believe that all Americans are equal, you should believe all people in the world are equal. But that's kind of the fallacy of America. It's like, if you believe all men are created equal, it should extend past your borders. But that's the thing. They don't like globalization. They really want to stick to their own. Well, we just worry about ourselves. Why are you sending all this money to Ukraine, Biden? You bastard. Just worry about ourselves. Shit like that. It's isolationism. So in some ways, there's a lot of flawed methodology or ideology in all men are created equal in the whole mantra of the United States, if you don't believe that globally. It really is. This is the basic philosophy that has to be true everywhere. And if you can't believe that, well, yeah, Norman, in some ways, it's like, look, in some ways, he had that programming I was talking about with Fred too, growing up in California. They really do get indoctrinated. I know, because they try to indoctrinate me being in there as a Canadian. I saw exactly how it works. So Cool Cat's also saying, Fred Van Vliet on Pivot podcast had to explain how great it is to be in Canada, and that there are tons going on all the time, and playing for that country is prestigious and famous right away. Lots of money. Yeah. They respect this country. They do. And they do love this country. The championship is always going to be something very important to them. And I'm not trying to diss them. It's just that you can see kind of the differences and levels of where the respect for Canada or the disrespect kind of bleeds into from the shades of gray going into it. And Fred and Norm are close to being very, like, they love Canada and stuff like that. But you can see in some ways it's not the States to them. You can tell it from their personality and and it's not to diss them. What I'm saying, they very much love being here and their time here and all that stuff. But you get what I'm saying. Like, in some ways, Alvin is an assimilated Canadian, Alvin Williams, because he spends a lot of time here and he chooses to. And he really has become kind of a Canadian kind of guy. You meet him in person, you talk to him, he's very Canadianized in some ways. It's weird. So there's levels to this with how American players take to Canada or not. Alvin Williams is a very good example of somebody who really took to Canada, really, really took to Canada. Wayne Strainer saying multiculturalism works only when immigrants love here and do not seek to replicate their domestic home here. Controversial and off topic, but we seek fairness and opportunities. Love Canada for Canada. See, this is a really weird way to look at things. Like, in some ways, assimilation is demanded in the United States, whereas here in Canada, it isn't. And in some ways, that's better here in Canada, because diversity works with multiculturalism when people are allowed to keep their culture and weave it into the mosaic of the city. That's why it's so beautiful, the celebrations that were going on yesterday with Indian people around the city. I saw people coming to their houses in saris and coming to greet each other for a Ganesh festival. And I think that's a beautiful thing because it enriches people and they learn more about different cultures. Multiculturalism is important. And the other thing I'll say about it is if you have a diversification in multiculturalism, you're stronger. In some ways, Toronto has a more stronger city in so many different ways than any other city in the world because of our multiculturalism. Because there's a strength in difference. And that's one thing that people don't realize. You make everybody a sheep, everybody the same. Well, they have the all same attributes and the same strengths and weaknesses. But when you have people that are from all around the world that get to genuinely be who they are from where they are, bring that here, there's nothing wrong with that. Seriously. It just makes us all more enriched and stronger as a culture. Trust me. Crime is crime and it's always wrong. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people being able to be themselves where they were from their countries before. I don't believe in telling them, well, you're in our country. You got to do this, this, and this way. No, let them be who they are and be who they are here. That's what makes Canada a great country. And in some ways makes us a better country than the States because they try and stifle and stop any kind of multiculturalism for assimilation. And you can go to States and be somebody from India and try and practice the festival of Ganesh yesterday. You may get problems with people down there, and that's what I don't like. Once again, that's against freedom. These people want to have the freedom to celebrate something that's going on. There's all kinds of crazy stuff right now with India and Canada for sure. But yeah, this is a really deep subject, Wayne, and something I'm very interested in. Very, very interested. As a family that's been an immigrant family at many levels in my family, it's something I feel very strongly about. Even though with my appearance, I'm white male and everything like that, I know the immigrants' experience very closely from my grandparents and even from us moving to the States, from being in Canada. That's an immigrant kind of thing too. So, and to me, I have a very interesting view on immigration and people moving to different places. I think that borders should be open to a degree, but also people need to learn the laws of where they come to and follow them also. So, it's a tricky subject. It's not totally simple, but I think that it makes us stronger, multiculturalism. Yeah. Yeah, and I love Canada for being that kind of place. And there's so many different people in this chat with us that come from all over the place. There's so many different people in the city of Toronto, and they really feel blessed and lucky to be able to be in this country, have the opportunity here, and to still keep their identity as who they are. Because that's important. Seriously, you don't want people to try. If somebody wants to become more of Canadian or something, they come here. I want to be more Canadian. I'm going to get more maple syrup. I'm going to go chop down a tree or I don't know. That's good. If they want to do that, that's freedom. But they shouldn't be forced to do that. In some ways, that kind of mentality is what built the residential schools across this country that are ugly, dark part of our history. Is that kind of mentality in some ways. Cowboys saying alley-oop to Wayne. All right, there we go. We'll get Wayne Strainer on the board with this too. That's Wayne's seventh dunk, it looks like. Wayne's got some dunks. All right, let me keep going here. Infamous is saying, by far, Noel is our best passer. Once Grady gets the defensive side down, 905 will be a very, very short stay. Yeah, that's all you have to do, Grady. Go down there and dominate and just show, okay, I've mastered this level. And then boom, you won't ever have to go down there again. Honestly, that's really what they want to see from these guys. Chris Boucher did it. He absolutely dominated the G League. Fred, Norman, Pascal, Jakob, those guys didn't belong down there at a certain point. So it's gone. So many of the Raptors that are on the team right now have gone through that process, Grady. So you should go through it too. OG didn't really have to go through it. Scottie didn't really have to go through it. Malachi got a little bit of it, but not really. So, yeah, it'll be good for these guys. 905 is going to be a lot of fun. Monique saying Shaden Sharp would like to play for Team Canada for the 2024 Paris Olympics. That's a report out. I see that, Monique. Wow, that's amazing. Well, I would love to have him on that team. I'd love to get him involved in the program for the future to continue to keep Canada going really strong. I think this is smart. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe he's invited to Team Canada training camp next summer and he gets to battle for a spot on the team. We'll have to see. Yeah. G's saying, did he say that? I think that's what she's saying, that he said that. Most saying, I haven't been invited yet, but if I'm invited, I can't miss out on that opportunity. I think a lot of these guys have got that fever now. They saw this taste of success, the bronze medal, and they're like, man, that could be me with SGA and RJ. down there. And there maybe be a lot more clamor to try and get on this team. I know Chris has said the same thing as Shaden Sharp. Chris Boucher said if they invited me, I would come down there. So Shaden has not been invited yet, although he was invited to the workout at OVO Center this past summer. He was able to come there with Leonard Miller and stand and watch the Team Canada practice as somebody to watch it. And he did come here and was showing that interest enough to come to Toronto and watch Team Canada practice this summer. Well, that ingratiates yourself pretty good with Rowan Barrett Sr., doesn't it? He's like, oh, he showed up. He's not actually on the team. He's showing an interest, and he wants to come and meet with Jordi Fernandez and the rest of the guys. Well, that's a good step, Shaden Sharp right there. And I know Boucher was around the building that day also. So who knows? Maybe he was partaking in that whole thing too. That's good. If these guys show up and they show an interest, well, maybe you will get those invites. Cowboy saying all my kids' moms were not born in Canada, Colombia, Guyana, and Trinidad. I love Toronto for that. Let's grow. Also, does you or anyone have a cast iron skillet? If not, get one. Good cooking. Cowboy, I'm going to give you a dunk for just really non sequitur right there. That's really weird. You're like, all right, you're really proud that your ladies are all from different countries, and then also you are very happy about a cast iron skillet. I like this, Bradley. This is very off topic and weird. I don't know if we have one here right now. Maybe I'll get one at some point when I get out here next year. Top saying, I know this seems like an obvious question, but to what extent do you think players practice defense? Like Grady today and DeMar back in the day work on lateral quicks and guarding without fouling, etc. You're kind of getting around the part of it. It really is those kind of drills where they're doing like the ball stuff, like with the tennis ball stuff. Like RICO made a jab at it in the latest clip. He's like, these guys aren't coaches. These guys with tennis balls. He said that at one point, and I laughed about that. He had a couple of real gems in this last one. Real gems. But all right, it is a lot of that, like running across, like that's good, like skill training work, drill work for defensive lateral movement for sure. They'll do like scrimmages, or they'll do like, part of it is like Jamal McGlure used to like practice post moves, like post defense guys would guard him and try and stop him from scoring, the big men. And that was one way big men like Chris would try and learn to play post defense, is like McGlure would literally try and damage them. Like as a big man with experience and an all-star from the NBA, even though he's older, he still has a big body. He doesn't have to run up and down the court. He's a really good person that they would practice against on our team. And he probably will still do that for our team, even though he's not officially one of the coach. He's still in the organization. He may go down there still because he enjoys doing it, and like rough up Jakob a bit and let Jakob practice his big man defense. Although Jakob's pretty practiced in defense. I'm sure Popovich put him through the ringer with all kinds of great defensive practice drills and stuff like that. But yeah, they definitely practice this kind of stuff. They definitely get better at it. I think Scottie is somebody who's actually been working on defensive skill work a lot this summer. In some ways, if you watch the clips real closely, you see Scottie's taking an extra special dedication to defense that's different than his first 2 years in the league, and that he looks a lot more in tune and taking a priority on defense, kind of like what OG does. Seriously, watch that clip. Scott's dialed in on defense in there. Now, another thing Rico said, and it just came to me, is he said, it was what Katino Mobley said. Mobley said this, y'all need to watch your body posture. Some of y'all are like changing your body posture when you're not playing, and you shouldn't do that. You need to hold your body posture a whole certain way all the time when you're around the court, because in some ways, when you let your energy down like this, you're kind of actually hurting your team on the down low. You don't realize it. So in some ways, I think he may have been talking partly to some of our guys on the Raptors, as far as like, maybe Chris or somebody's like, or something like that. He's saying, don't do that kind of stuff on the court. Stand strong and stand tall and stand kind of like not alpha, but like, kind of tough and aggressive. When you let your body posture slump, or you start going like, or something like that at some point, he said that's not very good. And that was his advice on it. That was really interesting to me when he said that. So let's see. Isaac Campbell saying most improved player, Scottie, MVP, Pascal, defensive player of the year, OG, and number one real one. Thank you, Isaac Campbell. You're very sweet for that. That's awesome. Let's see. Cowboys saying a dunk. All right. Jeez. Cowboys going for like 20 assists today. It looks like Cowboy. What are you going to get? Like 20 assists today? Isaac's getting a dunk too. All right. Isaac's on his second line also. Hilarious. Fun guys here. Good to see you. I'm a fun guy. Our Mississauga dude. Man, we look good. And I think people are seriously counting us out. I hate to say it, but losing Freddie opened a new era for us. That's better. Let's play. There you go, fun guy. Love seeing you here, my big buddy. And yeah, I agree with this. I think that people are sleeping on us and they're not really giving us enough credit because they just want to sully us and say, well, Nick and Fred are gone. They're not going to be very good. That's going to be really the fire of the logic of why people don't think the Raptors are good this year. It's because we fired a coach and our captain is gone. So they're going to see a leadership void and they're going to wonder who's going to fill it. Well, we're going to show y'all when we show up on the courts this season with our coach Darko and our new captains, our new leadership on the team. Scottie, point guard? Yeah, probably. Pascal, another level of superstar and clutch? That's what we want. Precious, a new level of everything? Yeah. OG? Yeah, all of it. We're going to see it, and they're going to see it, and they're going to realize it. A full year with Jakob Poeltl, new shooters on the team like Grady Dick. Yeah. Y'all go ahead and sleep. We aren't going to hit the alarm button off for you. We're not going to put the alarm set for you. You can sleep all morning. We'll let you sleep in till 1. Yeah, and wow, we're going to get those W's while you're sleeping. How about that? Yeah. Infamous is saying, Jeff needs to slow down and let the game come to him. Whenever he handles the ball, I get nervous. He does seem like he's a little panicked more than he has been in the past. But I don't know. I still have faith in him. We got to see what happens in preseason and in training camp. I know Nick's licking his lips because in some ways he's got dibs on him if we do not let him make our team. So in some ways, maybe Messiah and Darko are thinking we got to keep Jeff because if we don't, Nick's going to get him on the Sixers right away because that's what's going to happen if that happens. And what will happen is possibly Jeff will go to the Delaware Bluecoats and they may cut one of their two-ways and give the two-way to Jeff so he can actually show up and play on the Sixers also. So in some ways, it's kind of like a defensive move if we keep Jeffrey Doughton Jr. over an Otto Porter Jr. or something like that. Because I don't know Otto's going to go play for somebody else. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with this with Jeff Doughton Jr. It's very question. He's the biggest question mark right now going in the season to me. Jeffrey Doughton Jr. G saying, glad Precious got mad. Point of being there is to also work on fundamentals. I was watching it thinking of FIBA, but was very happy with the better ball movement. Yeah, the ball movement was really good with Raptors Team A. There was a couple bad passing with Raptors Team B where there were a lot of turnovers and really bad like transition baskets quick by the other team. Raptors Team B actually beat Raptors Team A the first time they play in that clip from yesterday. Precious in particular, he carries that team to beat Scottie's team and when they play head to head on that clip. And that was very interesting to me to see the B team beat the A team. So that was pretty cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, Precious was that. He really does look the best on that last RICO clip out of everybody. Some people will say Melton looks the best. Whatever. It's a Sixers fan saying that. Precious looked really good. And Scottie looks still really good too. Fun guy saying Precious was getting mad at RICO and foul calls. Laughed my ass off. That's why RICO called the circle. And he was also mad at some team plays like y'all saying. Love the passion. Yeah, I like that. He cares. I'd be upset if Precious didn't care. I'd be like, he doesn't care. I'm like, get him off the team. No, he cares. And that's important. Kareem's saying, Lex, can you call Rico and ask him what the fuck is up with his camera crew and why we can't get a camera on the other court? All right. I'll take a request for this real quick. Hang on. I got to remember his number. I kind of took him out of my phone. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hello, Rico. Yeah. Hi. This is a Raptorsfreaks. I know you don't know me. Yeah. I piggyback on your runs sometimes and do streams on you. I hope you don't mind. Yeah. No, I talk glowingly of you. No, it's all good. I just want to wonder, like, who films the camera stuff for you guys at Rico Runs? Oh, yeah. Okay. And do you think you could get a camera on the other court? Oh, yeah, you do. Oh, yeah. See, all right. Let me tell him that. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you. All right. Yeah. All good. Have a great, blessed Sunday. Sorry. Yeah, I'll take the phone number out of my phone. Okay. I'm sorry. Bye. Yeah. Kareem, they do film the other courts. They have a couple of different people filming. And you get to see the different courts at different times. In fact, later in the clip, you see it switch to the loser court where we were sitting next to, which sucks. I know that may have been part of the whole plan or scheme. It's like, oh, Raptors, you get to sit over here at the third court at the end of the court. So they are actually filming it. That's the part with O'Banner and Morcell. If you see them playing against Isaiah Thomas, that's the other court. So they do actually film it all. Yeah, and I got to take his phone number out of the. He got mad at me. Yeah, I shouldn't have called him. Don't tell me to call RICO anymore. Top saying, to be clear, I think Grady can be a better defender than DeMar. Laugh out loud. He seems to have a better sense of positioning. Haven't watched the last RICO clips. I don't like dissing DeMar for his defense. In some ways, this is the thing. DeMar had to be the OG on a team when he just doesn't have OG chops. And what is he supposed to do with LeBron James at that era of that LeBronto bullshit? I get it. DeMar was very focused on his offense, and the defense wasn't the side that he was strong on. But still, I don't think of DeMar as being a below average defender. It's just that he wasn't a good enough defender in certain situations for us. So I don't know. In some ways, DeMar is a better defender than Grady just because he knows more already. I don't know if Grady will be a better defender than DeMar. So he could be. Maybe you're right. I don't know. It's a weird comparison. In some ways, they're not the same position. I know they are, but they aren't really. They really aren't, because DeMar's so mid-range, and Grady's going to be outside and doing different things. And DeMar's so on the ball, and Grady's going to be so off the ball. So I don't know. Trevor J saying, Lex, give a dunk to, damn, we don't want him here anymore. Anyway. What? Who is that? Who am I giving a dunk to for that, Trevor J? Tell me who is that? Who is give a dunk to, damn, we don't want him here anywhere. Are you talking about Mo? I'll just give dunk to Mo. Why not? We're just giving dunks like crazy today. This is awesome. It's all good. Cowboys saying, did you just catch that fly? I did. I got it out of here. I Mr. Miyagi'd it. Yeah. Stargate saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks family. Late to the party. What did I miss? I saw the topic for today, and it is something that I've commented on numerous times here. Well, I kind of went over it in the beginning. If you ever want to get the subject material from my streams that are in the title, watch the first 10 minutes. Usually I'll do my spiel on it. We've kind of piggybacked off of that into other realms, talking a lot about the Rico Hines clip. That's the last one for the season that came out, the 47-minute clip. Is very interesting, Stargate. And Seymour saying, wake and bake? What? You don't have to say twice. Seymour, you tried to call me the other day, and it was late at night. And at that time, I'm kind of like not doing stuff at that point. But I would like to connect with you and talk to you through the chat if you have something you want to talk to me about. But I apologize for not answering your call the other day. In some ways, it was off time, and it wasn't a good time for me just as far as like life and what I'm doing at the time. So 8:40 Mountain Standard Time. Bam. Out there in the Alberta province. That's right. Country Kong saying, Lex, I've given some, hang on. Where's Country? It always jumps on Country Kong. It seems like it's jumping on Country Kong today. And guys, I want to finish up. Give me the cutoff. Don't talk anymore, please. No more talking. Lex, I've given some serious consideration to Marquise Noel's bold proclamation from earlier this summer. He may not be the GOAT, but I think he was serious when he said he's going to try. Oh, yeah, he's going to try. Trevor J gave me the cutoff. Thank you, Trevor J. Yeah, he's going to try, and we'll see how successful he gets, if he even gets anywhere near close. As far as, listen, I just want him to hit big shots, play within his role, be a good point guard, set guys up, and you'll be fine, Marquise. You'll be fine. You're going to live that NBA dream. You're going to get a lot of success. But, I know that you're dreaming real big, and I want you to get that. But whatever you get realistically, I'll be happy with, as long as you do it in a winning way, a team-oriented way, and you take pride in being a Raptor like you already are. So you're already halfway there, Marquise. We love you. And I love how you're embracing Raptors culture. And it looks like you're a real one, just like many real ones before you. Yeah, there you go. Fun guy saying, my problem is I always bet on the Raptors, laughing my ass off, win or lose. That's part of loving the games to me. Well, that's the thing. Maybe there's key games where it's a really good idea to bet on them, and maybe not such a good idea to bet on them. I don't necessarily want to encourage people betting, but in some situations, this is actually exactly true, that we're in a good position to make money off the Raptors since everybody thinks we're being so bad this year, that it's in the press and stuff. If you have an insider tip at the horse track about horses and you want to get money off of it, you want to capitalize on it. Well, in some ways, this is similar. because these people don't want to give us credit, and they're going to get a rude awakening when they find out that our team is very talented and very good. Let's see. Yeah. Stargate saying Brogdon is not a loyal person at all. He already pissed off Boston. Plus, he only plays hard for a few months to see if he makes the All-Star team. When he doesn't, he cruises. I love that assessment. I won't disagree with any of it, and I have nothing to add to it. Cowboys saying alley-oop to everyone. Let's go, freaks. I can't do that, Bradley. Now you're just pushing it. What, you want me to just go down the whole list and X everybody's name down there? I don't know who's present right now. I can mark a whole bunch of people that aren't even here. Cowboys funny. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're moving up there. I want to give you some pepper seeds for next year. You got to see this pepper called Sugar Rush Stripey. I am definitely interested, Cowboy, in getting any kind of agricultural help from you as far as like your peppers, for sure. And I eventually would love, I'm going to be moving up here next year at some point. And I would eventually love to have friends that are friends from the channel to come out here and hang out with me here. You know, it'd be fun. So we'll see how things develop over time. We'll see, Cowboy. But I'm definitely interested in learning more about growing stuff in the garden. This is a huge thing that I need to know more about. And your knowledge is very, very interesting to me. So Seymour saying salute to the Cowboy. That's right. Salute to the Canadian Cowboy. Are these guys are like, we have the Mug brothers, Cowboy and Chris. But also Cowboy and Seymour are like the Alberta Scarborough connection. These guys, they switch places. They're like trading places. MSJ saying basketball fans are fans who cheer and have a good time. Hockey fans, they seem to sit there and think it's important. Leafs have a chance this year, it seems. However, I only have time for the Raptors. Chris, I don't disagree with you. I like the Leafs, and I want the Leafs to win. I think if they were successful this year, that'd be very good. Now, Leaf fans get a little uppity, and then they start talking about, well, we're more important than the Raptors, and a lot of people believe that. That's fine. But you can have y'all's reality and y'all's world, and we'll have ours and ours. And there's nothing wrong with that. What is this? Somebody just subbed up. Awesome. Thank you for subbing up and joining the channel. Definitely join me on Facebook if you have subbed up, for sure. Let's see. You're saying, in some ways the Leaf fans are just so used to what's happened with them that they're apathetic and they just love the team. They love the brand. In some ways, I'm happy for them getting more success now. Austin Matthews, Tavares, the things that can happen for them hopefully are very good this year. So I'm not a hater. I want the Leafs to do well. And, I want the Raptors to win championships. I don't mind the Leafs winning a Stanley Cup again, too. It'd be good for the city. Stargate saying, MSJ, please don't bring up hockey fans around here. Most hockey fans in this country are totally anti-basketball for some reason. Well, it's a threat. That's the reason. They understand that basketball in some ways is more exciting and more popular with young people, and they're scared of it because in some ways hockey is on the decline in a lot of different ways, whether it's ratings or people's interest in it. And it scares the hell out of the old status quo institutional of Canada kind of things. In some ways, people would protect hockey as an institution in Canada because it's a part of our fabric of our culture and who we are. And in some ways, basketball, they don't see it the same way, even though basketball has a very entrenched part in our culture here too, but they don't want to identify that. And then part of it is partly racial things that have to do with it too. So let's see. Seymour saying Scarborough is all about ball, and it's the 905 area that has the hockey fans. Laugh out loud joke. I don't know if it's that cut and dry. I mean, I get it. Yeah, who knows? Maybe I don't know. What is Brampton? I don't know. Is there Brampton hockey too? I think Brampton's hockey. Cool Cat saying, yes, Alvin Williams is immersed in Canadian culture and still American. He is a perfect blend of both cultures. One of my favorite Raptors. And see, he gets the best of both worlds. And that's Scottie has that open mindset to understand that also. He'll get the best of both worlds because he's opened up to that idea too. In some ways, Scottie doesn't see a difference between Canadian and American. He very much talked about this on his Twitch stream last year, that he just doesn't see a difference. Canada, America, so what? They're different countries. They have different money, but in a lot of ways, they're so similar to him. So he doesn't have this issue. MSJ saying, how can you keep bombing the world if you see everyone as equal? Exactly. The Ukraine-Russia war is a design statement to sell more arms. NATO versus BRICS. Look at Trudeau versus India. It's all a mirage. Yeah, I don't want to wade too much into this. I've only got 12 minutes, and I got to cut off. But yeah, MSJ, there's a lot in there.
There's a lot in there, and I don't want to go in that direction right now. Cowboy saying, yes, sir. Hey, bam. Seymour, have you been to the Badlands yet? Or Medicine Hat? Man, cheers to MSJ, Mug Brothers. I love it. And Stargate saying, right, Lex, that's what multiculturalism is. I'm kind of offended by Wayne's comment as a Caribbean Canadian. Well, don't be offended by Wayne directly. Listen, I don't even know what Wayne meant exactly there. And it may not be exactly like that kind of thing. That's part of why what they do at the end of August is so special on the lakeshore, because that is multiculturalism. That's celebrating Caravana. The things that they do in little India and Gerrard Street, when I used to live in that neighborhood for Diwali and all that stuff, is so awesome. You know, I love the different celebrations around the city. One of the great things I love is when it's like World Cup soccer time and all the different nations and different neighborhoods bring their flags out. And when their countries do well, there's sometimes traffic jams. Just go ask little Portugal. That's what I'm talking about. That's the beauty of multiculturalism. That's the beauty of Kensington Market, a place that was a Jewish market for a long, long time, but then had an influx of Jamaican people and people from the islands, all kinds of different people from all over Eastern Europe, melding together and making a neighborhood that's just so special and unique and awesome, with all the different flavors of food and culture and identities and people. And that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, MSJ saying at Stargate, some reason, I'd rather know the reason, laugh out loud. Cheers. Yeah, you guys, let's not even go there. Let's keep this positive and special and happy today. I know this is a topic that kind of opens up to this because we've talked about, xenophobia quite a bit earlier down in the States. But it is true. We got to recognize there is stuff up here too. And that, in some ways we don't want to be xenophobes. We want to be open to experience and learning more about other people because they want to do the same. I know that people want to paint people in bad lights to be building fear in people. And that's the one thing. You watch the Star Wars series, when the Jedi turn to fear, like Anakin Skywalker, that's when it all goes downhill. And this is the whole key to it, is that like the media and the leaders want us to be feared, so we hate. And then they can pull us apart. So don't be afraid of people you don't know, or be afraid of cultures that you don't know, because you don't know them and they want you to be afraid so that you'll turn to the dark side like the Sith. That is the whole message right there. So, if you don't know a stranger, get to know them, and then on a case-by-case basis, figure it out. But yeah, this is part of it right here. I don't know. We're getting too deep. I got 10 minutes. I want to keep going. Yeah, I want to keep going. Wayne, it's all good. I'm not judging you in any kind of way, and I don't want y'all to judge him either. We all have different experiences and stuff like that. And what he said, I know it sounded a little, but I wouldn't take it that way. In some ways, this is a good opportunity for us to educate and come together and not kind of point fingers and say, oh, this or this about each other. This is more like, let's come together, talk about it in an adult way, a mature way. And there's no reason to blame or do anything like that. But I get your feeling, Stargate. I get your feeling in some ways. Let's see. MSJ saying Stargate ain't wrong. And I will say again, politics these days are designed to divide. That's very true. The politricksters are all the same. Cast iron, do you oil it? The post cook has confused me. All right, this is hilarious. All right, we're really heavy on this topic. This is a big deal, seriously, what we're talking about. And then this cast iron commentary is going on at the same time. MSJ, you're getting a dunk just for silliness of bringing the cast iron in there too. Cowboy saying there's 25 people watching, only 5 likes. Everyone smash the like button for Lex. Let's grow. The Raptors are going to kill it. Sorry, Lillard, not here. So much there. MSJ saying the sizzle of the iron skillet is the best. Gets the vegetables cooked the best, and you can stick it in the oven too. Raps should get one and cook like the team, like a skillet, like pound the rock. Yeah, they got a good cook there. I don't know how much they're cooking in a skillet. They might be though. Cool Cat saying Raptors always have players shadowing main players. Grady for Gary, Precious for OG, Koloko for Jakob, Scottie for Pascal, Dennis for Fred. When opportunities always arise, our players depart. Yeah. I like that Koloko's there, even though he's not playing and he's soaking it in. I mean, Joel showed up. He didn't play. Giannis showed up. He didn't play. So, Koloko, you're in good company with two top superstars and former MVPs in the league. It came and showed up and watched them play, but didn't actually play. Cowboys saying, dunk to my mud brother. The Raptors are going to put all the teams on the cast iron skillet, sizzle, and make sure you season it after. This may become the new jargon. We got 100% Canadian maple syrup, but somebody's talking about some skillet a lot. We may have to talk about a skillet this year. Yeah, all right, cowboy. We'll get the skillet language instituted in the channel. It's somehow, some way. I'm sure I'm going to say it. All right, I got to keep going and finish this up in 7 minutes. Let's see if I can do it. All these comments that quick. G saying, my parents are immigrated and we practice the culture. Us, the kids raised here, helped assimilate, enjoy other cultures. Maybe Wayne meant communities shouldn't isolate themselves amongst diversity. Yeah, I mean, that's a good interpretation of it. There are enclaves in Toronto where, it may be little Portugal, maybe little Chinatown, it may be little Korea. There are areas where they clump together. But in some ways, I feel like it's good because they can kind of keep their old mentality together, like from their old countries, and kind of have a little mini of their countries in the city. But you can go about to different parts. Like if I want to go to little Portugal or little Italy, I can go and be there, and there's nothing wrong with that and stuff like that. And you're kind of also describing the pattern of how kind of things happen. Your parents are very much the old culture. They come here, but you're having to adapt and maneuver as a younger person and growing up. You're going to assimilate to a degree, but you want to keep a foot in the old culture and still keep a connection in some ways. I feel really bad that I do not fluently speak Estonian. In some ways, it's one of my biggest regrets in my life. It's a very difficult language to learn, and it is a dying language. There's not as many people speaking it, and it sucks. I'd like to be part of helping it, but the opportunities to speak it fluently all the time are just not there. And this is how sometimes this kind of stuff happens. Native tongues of people that lived here before anybody else, they go by the wayside in some ways. And the people that can still speak those languages are highly valued and hopefully still passing it on to different people. Stargate saying, I don't push too much stock. You don't put too much stock in the RICO runs. It's like watching a bodybuilder bench press 400 pounds and using that to gauge how he will do in the next pose off. I like it, Stargate. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Seymour saying, all good, broski. Thank you, Cowboy, for the cutoff. Seymour saying, we're going to have some road rage on this chat with all the cutoffs. No, we're going to be fine. Trevor J saying, okay, Trevor got his membership renewed on the channel. Thank you, Trevor. Tom Duke's got you want a dunk for Tom Duke? All right, Tom Duke's getting a dunk. All right, am I going to get done in time? Let's see. Cowboy saying, Lex and Raptor Freaks, have a blessed and safe day. Be safe later. Blackhawk saying, let's go, Raptor Freaks. Thank you, Tom Duke, for the super chat. Monique saying, W stream, Lex. Keep at it always. Go Raptors for life. Seymour saying, Jamaican Canadian love, my roots and others. There you go, Seymour. Wayne saying, I'm from the Caribbean. So what if it was so great? Why are we here? Respect your new home and don't replicate where you're coming from. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying, Wayne. And maybe that's good for you. If you want to have that philosophy, this is what I say. We're about freedom. If people want to do it, they should have the freedom to do it. And if Wayne wants to have his stance on like, you know what, I assimilated. I came from the Caribbean. And I didn't, I don't want to keep up that stuff. I want to be more Canadian. That's his right. It's his freedom of choice. And that's what we're saying here. We just don't want people being told that this is what you should be doing or you shouldn't. We won't want Wayne to tell people not to do it. And we shouldn't tell Wayne, well, you can't do that either. So there's two sides to it. And we need to allow tolerance from both directions. How about that? There you go. MSJ saying eating is more important than anything. So the skillet conversation is the most important conversation today. Blackhawk saying the truth is there is enough room for all sports, something for everyone. Don't believe the hype. Terminator X. There you go. A Public Enemy reference right to end of our stream right here. That's perfect, Blackhawk. Glad you made it, Neil, right at the end. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching me today. Listen, xenophobia and not knowing about people in other places has no place in having a very educated opinion. So anybody who's like Chris Broussard, who wants to make generalizations or say things about Canada or other countries anywhere, check yourself. There's a different of everything. And I'll say the same thing about the States. But this American idea about Canada and playing for the Raptors, it's a perception war. And in some ways, they need to stop doing this. The smart ones will know this is stupid. But the ignorant ones can be stupid and live their own lives and just do that. Dame Lillard. So if you don't want to come here because of taxes, you don't want to come here because of DeMar DeRozan, you don't want to come here because it's Canada, well, we don't want you to come here then either. So we're fine with that. And in some ways, we're good. We don't need to make a deal with Portland. So if we don't make a deal with Portland, we'll be fine. You know, in some ways you're limiting your options. In some ways it's not very smart what you're doing, Dame Lillard, because in some ways you're closing doors instead of letting doors open so that you can escape Portland. And in some ways you're hurting yourself is what you're doing. So anyway, y'all, thanks for watching today. I appreciate everything, the lively chat, the fun, all the dunks. You know, we had more dunks on this stream than they did on the Rico Hines runs. Highly recommend y'all watch it. If you're a Raptors fan, it'll really get you excited, like an appetizer before a great meal for this NBA season. Definitely watch the last two Rico Hines runs clips with the Raptors involved. Lots of good stuff to scout. And some people say, hey, it's just like watching a guy lift weights for a pose down. It doesn't really matter. But it is kind of fun to see our guys in the summer, especially a rookie, Grady Dick and Marquise Noel, out there working with our older guys and seeing the early synergy right away. So I like it. I like it a lot. MSJ saying subordinate terror. Just say no. Listen, don't fall for fear. If that's the one most important thing I say about anything I say today, whether it's xenophobia and being worried about the others, them, there's no them. We're all us. And as long as you realize that and you come at everybody individually in your life in a way that we are humans, you'll find the human that you find. And then you can make your judgment about them and when you interact with them. But when you say the whole country or this is this or this is that, you're really messing yourself up. Just trust me on that. So, and don't go towards fear. Whenever they try and make you afraid of somebody, whether it's crime downtown, whether it's immigrants coming in this country, they're using you as a tool because they're manipulating you off the basis of emotions, fear. You want to be afraid? You want to be feared? Well, then they have control over you. That's basically it. MAGA, that's their playbook. That's the politician's playbook. MSJ is exactly right. They will try and control you through fear. So if you want to be afraid, then you're under their control. So don't do it. Don't be afraid. And take it by a case-by-case basis and see for yourself, you know, instead of taking the words from other people. That's right. Can we all just get along? Okay, thank you, Rodney King. Thank you, Rodney King. Great words by a great man in a very unfortunate situation, and a very, very good thing happened because of it. That may have been the very first body cam camera that was very important to start things going. I'm over 2 hours. All right, let's go Raptors. Be back tomorrow. I'll see you at 9:30.